Uh, yeah. Hi everyone, I'm Navid Kagalwala. I'm currently going to be pursuing my master's in privacy engineering, which is focusing on cybersecurity and privacy at Carnegie Mellon. I'm interested in all things security and privacy. And in my free time, I find vulnerabilities in web applications. I've found um, vulnerabilities in websites of Audi, Pfizer, Dell Technologies, and many more. Um, and yeah, anything security and privacy just um, is interests me. I'll share my screen now so we can get started.
Just reminding everybody that everybody is on mute. In case you want to ask Navid a specific question, unmute yourself and then ask him. Else we keep everybody on mute.
Um, is the screen visible?
Yes, Navid.
Okay, great. So today's talk will be
Put it
on.
on full screen mode, please, Navid.
Pardon?
Put it on view full screen mode.
I can't hear you.
Can you put it on view full screen?
So yeah, so today's talk is going to be on cybersecurity concepts and tips. So this is just who I am. Just an introduction to myself. I already gone there. So today we'll be talking on data breaches. So a data breach is basically when a data breach is basically when incident where an information is stolen or taken from a system without the knowledge or authorization of a system's owner. So this stolen data may be sensitive, proprietary, confidential, and may include personally identifiable information as well. Now, personally identifiable information is anything that helps an attacker know exactly who you are. This can mean name, email address, your physical address, your Aadhaar card information, your credit card numbers. All of this is basically personally identifiable what you do. So the effects that are brought on by a data breach in the form of a company or an enterprise is basically people feel betrayed because their own personal information is out there in the open for attackers to do what they want with it. And the the numerous occasions that data breaches have occurred with huge companies which are very well known are also it's really surprising. So the various
Navid, what is a data breach? What does data breach really mean?
So data breaches is basically when suppose a company takes in data from you. Like whenever you're registering for a company, the company takes in your name, your surname, your email address, sometimes your physical address, your Aadhaar card information, sometimes your credit card numbers. If you're trying to actually do a purchase or something on the internet, so all this data that they take is stored in a database. Now this database can either be it can be hosted either as a separate server at the back end, or it can just be hosted there. So this when this database gets breached, either due to, as I'll tell you the reasons that are there, it can be either due to insider leak, it can be due to just an inadvertent leak in the form of an employee not being of an employee making a mistake, or it can be due to a malicious hacker actually coming to know the password of the database and actually logging into the database because of a poorly formed password. So then because of all of this, your actual data can be out in the open. Now, the data that is out in the open is for anyone to misuse and do anything that they want with it. It can go on to being used by scammers or fraudsters to call you and then actually get your CVV, and if they already know your credit card numbers, or it just leads to a lot of personally identifiable information of millions of people out there in the open. So data that you don't really want anyone else to know is out there in the open for everyone to view and watch that. So that's what a data breach is. Now, the various reasons for a data breach, like I said, is an insider leak. So this can just be maybe a person who has access to this data, and then accesses data, leaks the data, or is a disgruntled employee who goes on to a disgruntled employee who's going to leave his job for whatever reason or is fired, goes on to leak this data. Other data is stolen in the form of payment card fraud or loss or theft. So loss or theft is also a huge reason for data theft. If your laptops are stolen and your laptop contains sensitive information and is not properly secured with a password or multi-factor authentication, then it can lead to a loss of theft or data. Unintended disclosure also happens a lot of times. Just credentials lying out there on the internet for anyone to view and watch publicly, which leads to sensitive data being exposed, happens on numerous occasions. And in
Navid, before you go on, just a bit of an observation. As this is a technical subject, and many people also are using this on their cell phones, maybe you want to speak a bit slower so that people can actually absorb this.
Okay.
Because a lot of people are on cell phones, they may not be able to read what you have written also. So a bit slower would help.
Okay, sure. So this can also be due to unintended disclosure. So unintended disclosure is just when an employee who keeps stuff on the internet for his own usage when he is trying to work, to easily access credentials or to easily access the way in which he can perform his daily job. He keeps it lying out there on the internet, publicly facing, so that anyone who can go to that particular URL is able to view the credentials to this database. So this happens on numerous occasions, and it's and it's one of the major reasons of a data breach. In other cases, in small number of cases also, the actual attacker or the actual breach method is unknown or is undisclosed, because either the company doesn't want, the company knows how it's happened and doesn't want everyone else to know, because it can lead to a huge loss of reputation.
Navid, can you explain to us where data? I know you have examples, but would this really affect people like me or my parents or you on a day-to-day basis?
So I'll actually, it's just the next two slides which addresses that. So I'll just go ahead. So actually, the recent major data breaches, which have all occurred actually at the end of 2020 or April 2021, and these are all relating to just India. So there's Domino's India. In Domino's India, only 22.5 million unique accounts have been breached. Now, what these million unique accounts that are there, all of them have either physical address, email address, name, surname, all breached. So now that's 22.5 million unique accounts just there for attackers to go through and see. Other is Facebook, Big Basket, and Money Control. So all of these are sites which all of us either view on a daily basis, either to order food or just for social media, or for Money Control is maybe seeing stocks and financial related information. So to come to know how a data breach as what Saleh asked, is that there are many websites which do this. One of that is Have I Been Pawned? So I'll just go to, if I go to this URL, Have I Been Pawned? So this basically lets you know if your email or your phone is in a data breach. Now see, suppose if I search for my own email. So this is my email address. I'm just searching, have I been pawned? Is my email address present in any data breach out there, which is already on the internet and for attackers to view? So if I search for it, it shows that my data has been breached. My email has been found in a certain breach that has been present. So this breach was actually in 2019 when Canva had a huge data breach. So the compromised data that included was email address, my geographic location, my name, my password, and my username. So I've already changed my password, and I've already changed my password after I got to know that my email address was in a breach. Because actually, and then the other bad thing is, we have very limited number of passwords, we use the same passwords for many services. So now see, if my Canva password got leaked, maybe if I use the same password for another email address, or I use it for another, say for net banking or for any other service, just because of this one breach, multiple accounts get breached. So this is a very
Navid, can you do us a favor, Navid? I think this is a very, very important thing that you're. I like all our members, if any of you would like to volunteer either your phone number or your email ID,
I don't mind.
you guys have been breached.
Let me do that. I would like to, because I'm a user without.
Yeah. Okay. Navid Kagalwala aunty, can you give us your email account,
Yeah.
email ID, please? Navid, will you type that in?
Can I say it? Or can I say it? Or
Yes, please.
Yeah.
KAMATH dot RAVIKALA at gmail.com.
Pardon,
At the rate gmail.com. Okay. Because I'm quite a avid user, and I would have been
in 2 data breaches actually.
Which
So
one?
LinkedIn, that was in 2016, in which your email address and your password was there, and these passwords were actually stored as SHA hashes without salt.
Correct.
That means it's easily crackable in today's day and age.
Okay.
And the second was in data enrichment exposure from PDL customer. So
PDL is what?
So this is basically this is a people's data lab. So basically it's indexing information that's not actually owned by them, but it's for other companies. So they index information for other companies.
What do I have to do practically?
So if your data, like how it's showing it's in a breach, so you should change your passwords that were associated with your LinkedIn account, and with and in this case in PDL, your email address, your employers, geographic, job titles, names. So in this case you can just discontinue for using this service, because I mean, or you can ask them to delete.
Well, LinkedIn I won't be able to. I mean, I wouldn't compromise on LinkedIn, but what about the other one? I can of course get out.
Most probably, Navid Kagalwala aunty, I mean, let me take this. Most probably because of your LinkedIn breach, the data enrichment exposure would actually have taken the data from there and done the thing. So maybe if you change your LinkedIn password,
you should change your LinkedIn password.
Okay, yes, fine. Thank you.
So this is a very nifty tool to actually come to know, where your data has been breached. And
one moment. Taking from here, I just want to know, today you have done it. If I wanted to do it again and check out after say a month or 2, what do I do?
So you can, like usual, you can obviously just go to this URL and check, have I been pawned, and just type in your email. Or there's another thing which is called Notify Me. So what Notify Me does, it just you put your email here, and you click on I'm not a robot, so it just tells you that and then whenever in the future when your email address is actually there in any data breach, you will get a notification on your email saying, hey, listen, your email has been there in a data breach. Kindly check this out and change your password, or change your password and that was linked to this account, so that other accounts that are linked are not actually taken over by attackers. So
notify me is just notify me with space between. Notify me is just notify me.
You just
what else have I done?
You just click on Notify Me, add your email address, and then you click the captcha.
Okay.
And then you just click on Notify Me of pawnage.
Sure. Thank you. So thank you very much.
Another way of doing it is you can just go to, you can go to this site. You can go to who's been pawned. So this tells you of all the various websites and various social medias that have already been subject to data breaches. So this list is huge. There is, it just goes on and on. The number of, the number of places and sites that have actually got breached because of various reasons. And the various things that we actually use on a daily basis, like I said, LinkedIn, Facebook, Money Control, Canva. There are many AVAS. AVAS is an antivirus which itself had a data breach. So it's huge that way. Then another way of actually using this is to check if your password itself has been in a data breach. So now obviously you'll be thinking, why should I put my password out here itself? So because what if this site itself indexes passwords? But they have written, there's this thing about read how have I been pawned protects the privacy of search passwords. So they basically don't store this password, and it's secure to actually type your password here to check if it's been taken over. So if I just type one of my passwords to check if it's there in any data breach. So this password has no, it's not been there in any data breach, luckily till now. Now, if I take another password, which is very simple, if I just type the word password as a password, So this has been there. This password has been there in these many password. You should obviously change it wherever, in whichever service you use this password. So this is all about, to come to know if you actually, if your data is there in a data breach, where has it been in a data breach, what to do if it's there in a data breach. This is a very nifty site, and it's really well made. It's made by this person called Troy Hunt. It's very well made. Um, so this is basically tells you if your data has been leaked. Now, how to keep your data safe. Now, obviously, strong passwords are a must while keeping your data safe. Now, strong passwords will obviously include password should at least be 16 characters or more long. It should use special characters, numbers, and shouldn't be normal dictionary words that you have.
Navid, this is a very important slide. Can you just do this a bit slowly? Very
Sure.
slowly, because the font is very small. People may not be able to read.
Okay. So how to keep your data safe? Strong passwords are a must. Now, strong passwords will obviously include that your password should be more than 16 characters. Now, 16 characters is a lot, and most of us don't even have. None of our passwords will be amounting to 16 characters or more. But it should be, if you're using at least for very sensitive data, like your actual email address or your net banking, most of them should be 16 characters or more. They should not be normal dictionary words. They should have special characters. They should have numbers. It should be, random letters, and not just keyboard sequence letters. Like some people just keep QWERTY. QWERTY is just QWERTY, which is on the keyboard. I mean, that is a very common password, because, and it's very easily be pawned, because it's there in multiple data breaches already. Another thing is that you can use is a password manager. So if I just go back to the website, this one password that is there, this one password that is written there, why use one password? So one password is like a password manager, which basically generates random secure passwords for you. So because it's a randomly generated password by a machine, this password is safe, more safe than what we usually have, and it's very hard to crack, because it's randomly generated, a long string of just random numbers and characters, and not just a dictionary word. So password managers like that generate a password for you and also store it. So whenever you want to access a site, all you got to do is log into this password manager with a multi-factor authentication. So multi-factor authentication is basically just using an OTP that comes to your phone, or just like a secondary OTP that comes to your email address, and then logging in, which enables you to use this password from the password manager. So this just keeps all your passwords secure in one place, which ensures that all your passwords are actually generated also securely and stored securely. Now, the other things that can be used are antivirus and malware protection. So antivirus, obviously, to prevent viruses from coming into your computer, and malware protection to see that, if you're down, you should never open emails from from unintended sources, or sources that you don't really know, and sources that claim to be, you should, whenever you get an email from someone, you should check that whether the ending of the email is actually what it says. So in many cases, you get an email from a bank saying, listen, your data needs to be updated regularly. Kindly go onto this link and and update your data. Now, this link that click on might just be an attacker sending you an email. It's actually very easy to send an email to anyone. I can just, if I can show you right now. So you can go to this site called MKZ. My internet is spotty, I think. So MKZ. So this basically just lets you send fake emails to anyone. So if I want to send a fake email, say from Bank of Navid, for example, and the email that I'm sending from the email, so say I'm saying Bank of Navid @gmail.com for just now, and two, I send it, say, to just any random email, say just, so I'm just using my mom's email for the sake of right now. And if I just click the subject saying, please update your info ASAP update, and I will just send this. Now, this email has been sent successfully, and now, so this actually, you can actually also attach attachments to it. You can edit it with HTML to make it look even more legit. And then if I actually go to this email address that is actually open already, I think it'll be probably be in spam. So see, from Bank of Navid, please update. Now, obviously, this tells you that it's a phishing email as a warning. But in many cases, if I've actually formatted it correctly, and if I've sent it, if it's formatted correctly, and I've actually added HTML to it, and I've made it look a lot of legit, like a proper from a proper bank, it could look like, hey, I have to click on this link that is sent here and actually update my information.
So Navid, it could be from any email address that you're sending this?
Yeah, so see, this email address is bankofnavid@gmail.com.
So you just formed that email just now, right?
It's a fake email. It's a fake email sender. So I can right now, if you want, I can just from any email. If I can actually send it from an actual email address as well, if I want. So I mean, I'm not writing, but I could use. Say I can use Bank of Baroda@gmail.com. But and
no, what I'm asking you is that these mails are only from Gmail or Hotmail or something like that, or you can also use any company email address or something.
Any company email address. I actually don't want to type a company email address right now because this is getting recorded, and I just don't want to. I don't want to actually type a company email address, so I'm just using a random Gmail address. But if you go to this email and you go to this URL and actually on your own try typing from multiple company email addresses, it would actually work. So the reason why this actually works is again a very technical reason regarding DMARC and SPF domains. So that is very technical as to why this happens. There are obviously protections as to how you can prevent this from happening if you're a company. But many companies don't, because they assume that their customers or employees won't actually click on these links because it looks like a phishing link. So that's how it is. So it actually tells you that this is phishing. So that's why be careful with it. But in many cases,
I think you need to also tell them that just because Gmail actually protected you, I'm sure that if you do it for, let's say, another
they won't. It'll come directly. It'll come directly in your inbox, and so this is actually going to spam, which is lucky. So you should be very careful on. You should see what this email address actually is. Does it look like? Have you got emails from that previously, which have come from a legitimate source and you can trust it? Then only you click on those links. You should see the ending of the link. Is the ending say gmail.com? Is it just G with one letter missing and something like that? So attackers just go on you assuming everything is correct because you got a thing from your bank saying update your information ASAP. You'll just assume it's something very important and you'll do it. So you should actually take care and take the trouble of looking at what the URL is and seeing if your bank, if you've actually got previously emails from this particular URL to see. So this, I can actually see if I click on this and I add this to my accounts, right? Add this to my contacts. Then the next time I get an email from this malicious person, it'll actually come directly to my inbox. It won't come to spam. So it should be really.
Navid, I think we're running out of time. So my request to you is maybe we could go back to your slides.
Okay.
You only have another 5-6 minutes left, and I think you need to cover a lot more stuff.
Yeah, there's a lot of more stuff.
Just to tell everybody, it's very what Navid has been saying consistently is if you see your email specifically with links, I think the recommendation that he is making is do not click those links unless you know very, very sure that you know where it's coming from.
Yeah,
right?
Correct. Yeah. So I'll just go back to my slides. So now these are just interesting tips that I've come across while using the internet. So in many cases, when you're using a service and it gives you like the first two deliveries are free if you sign up with this service, or first you get like a $2 discount or a $2 discount if you use this service with a new email address. So basically using the same login email for different accounts on the same website. Normally, accounts don't let you use the same website to register with the same email address multiple times. But what you can do is if your email is navid@gmail.com, if you write Navid plus 27 or Navid plus any random word, it will still get sent to your normal Gmail account, because Gmail and Hotmail, they ignore anything after full stops or anything after the plus sign. So anything after the plus sign actually is ignored by Gmail and Hotmail. So it just goes to your normal email address as well. So this is just, one of the interesting tips if you want to use your same email address instead of creating multiple email addresses, to use some service on the same site. Another is incognito mode. So this is just private browsing. It lets you browse in private so that none of your browsing history, like cookies or site data, are saved, or information entered in various forms on Google are saved on your device. So this is just basically if someone else ends up seeing your device and sees certain forms that may contain sensitive information. That information isn't saved on the device, and it doesn't show up in your browser history as well. So for the Mac, you can use the shortcut Command Shift N, and it's similarly present with while using Safari. When using Chrome and Firefox, and all other browsers have it. Another one is watching YouTube videos in slow motion. So if you want a screen record, or if you want to capture a screenshot on YouTube easily, so you can just change the YouTube speed to a slower one so that you can understand better. Or if you want, in some cases, if you want to go faster, you can obviously go faster. If you want to go through the video faster, and so to do that, you have to go to settings, click on playback speed, and you can then choose how slow or how fast you want to watch it. You can go down to.
Before you go into the interesting tips, can you go back to the earlier slide, please? The one which you're protecting us. Before that, please. So in this, if you could recommend to us what kind of an antivirus or malware protection would be a good idea to put on our phones as well as on our computers, that would be really helpful.
So, I mean, there are many antiviruses out there. There's Avast, there's ESET, there is obviously, then there are many other things like Windows Defender, and so all of them regularly come up with updates. So the thing is, like, if I've downloaded, say, Windows Defender, or if I've downloaded Microsoft antivirus, and then I think I'm safe. It's not like that, because new vulnerabilities and new exploits are coming out every day. So they will be coming out with new updates to patch those vulnerabilities in your systems. So in addition to just downloading, say, antivirus and then thinking I'm safe is not the way to go. You have to actually pay attention to what updates are coming out to patch which vulnerabilities. Now, obviously, like recently there was the print nightmare vulnerability, which was a vulnerability which linked to print spoolers. So basically related to printers and relating material. Now, obviously, if you would think, why would I have to download this? Why does it affect me? But it's not just that. There may be underlying features and underlying vulnerabilities that relate to this, which helps an attacker exploit other services because of this. So keeping up to date with various updates to the antivirus software is also very important, as to just downloading it once and then thinking you're set. It doesn't work that way. You have to keep up to date with the updates also that get sent to you. So in this, they've actually made it easy. You keep on getting notifications that, hey, an update is available, please update now. But most of us have the tendency to just click, we'll update later, and we keep on prolonging it. So whenever we're not using your laptop, or just putting it on the side, try to update it and keep it up to date to prevent vulnerabilities.
Navid, I think we need to end this. Maybe allow for questions, and I think you should end this shortly.
Yeah, there's just one more slide.
One question.
Yeah, sure.
I think this is an important slide. I should continue this slide.
Yeah, just two slides left.
Very important slide.
So this is again temporary mail. So in many cases you make an account on a website where you don't actually want to make an account, but you just have to make an account for that one particular 10 minutes to gain something. And then you're like, if you give your actual email address to it, you'll end up getting a lot of spam email, and until you unsubscribe, which is again effort. So what you can just do is, if you go to tempmail.org, so this is just creates a temporary email address for you. So now you can just use this email address wherever you go. So this is just a temporary email address that has been created. It's for free. You can use it in many places, and after you use it, all your confirmation mails will get sent here. So you can confirm your email address. So the service thinks it's a legitimate email address. And in many cases, you can use this when they say use a work email address. Instead of actually in a work email address space, you won't be able to use Google or Hotmail because they want like a proper work email like a .edu or a work email address. But these work in those cases as well. So this is another, really nifty way to provide, keep your actual mailbox clean and secure. Provides temporary, secure, anonymous, and free disposable. Now, if I want to delete this email address and use another one, it'll just delete this email address and on the fly create another one for me. So it's created another one for me, and I can just use this in a different place now. So this is also like, it's a nice, interesting tip that helps you keep your actual mailbox clean and prevent spam. And another one that was there, the last tip that I have for the day is Google Docking. So in many times, suppose I want to search for NewYorkTimes.com. So New York Times, if I just search nytimes.com in Google, so I get an ad. I get stuff from Twitter also. I get stuff from Instagram. I get stuff from LinkedIn. I get stuff from Facebook. The actual things relating to New York Times is not present. So there's this thing called Google Docking, which helps you smart search. So if I type site newyorktimes.com and I search now, it'll give you only things related to New York Times. So see, there's New York Times, cooking, salary is just related to New York Times. No LinkedIn, Facebook, or ads come up. Then if I want to type for a certain file type, say I know that I want something from newyorktimes.com, and I know that it's in the form of a PDF. So if I add the word PDF after this, I get all newyorktimes.com and I get only PDFs from New York Times. So if I open this, this is a PDF that is from with the URL that's at the site newyorktimes.com. So this is, just helps you save time and helps you get targeted searching. So it helps you find exactly what you want on the internet quickly and easily. So it's just targeted searching. So this is actually a rabbit hole. You can go down this, and there are multiple things that you can type. You can find in URL, in title, containing the word, containing special characters. So for that you can go to this other site called, if you just type Google Docking on the out there, and then if you just click on this Google hacking database, it gives you all the various Google Docs that are present out there. So this is like a rabbit hole you go down, and it'll tell you all the pertaining Google Docs that you can actually use to find data quickly and easily. So that's it from my side.
Navid, can you just open it up for questions if anybody has maybe a maximum 2 questions?
One question I have. How good is LastPass? Is it really as good as it's supposed to be? It's a pain.
How good is
LastPass? Usage of LastPass for passwords.
LastPass? I didn't get you.
LASTPASS. It's a LastPass you use on your this thing to create this thing and save your thing. I've got it on my thing. It always comes on LastPass. Red and.
I was saying something called 1Password. So 1Password is actually, it's one of the password managers that are there, which helps you actually, generate passwords.
LastPass is like that. LastPass is also
LastPass. So LastPass is also like if it's a password manager, and it can. So then, if it's a password vault, it is secure. It also is subject to various other things that are there, and you should obviously have the password that you're using to access that secure. But other than that, password vaults and password managers are the way to go if you have multiple. If you want to have secure passwords used across multiple websites.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? We are running out of time.
So most of these times we get spam emails coming from Amazon or Microsoft, and we are not able to actually make any difference between the actual mail and the fake mail. How do you actually go about identifying these?
See, so if you're using Amazon, you have to use. You can't use a temporary email because that in majority of the times you actually want to at the end of it purchase something from them. So the spam email that you get from Amazon and Microsoft most of the times is from legitimate sources, because Amazon has made sure that you cannot do what I just showed, like, because they send emails regularly. Even if you search for something on Amazon today, tomorrow you'll get an email saying, hey, this is at a discount, would you want to add it to your wish list? Or saying, hey, Prime days are coming, would you want to add it to your wish list? So Amazon Amazon.com. So best by seeing that it's from Amazon.com should be fine, because Amazon is like a big company, and they actually take care of, taking care of the DMARC and SPF domains. So sending it from Amazon and Microsoft actually won't go through. It's just, smaller companies that are there which haven't actually taken the trouble of, taking care of this possible vulnerability, if you call it a vulnerability, because it obviously involves phishing, that it should be. So Amazon is actually, the data that you get, the email that you get sent from Amazon is fine, because it'll be from Amazon.com or Amazon.in.
You actually mentioned that some of these data breaches of Zomato has happened. How could that affect people? Or how does one know if your data has been breached?
Navid?
I think he's...
Yeah, I think he has a login problem. So let me answer this question. If you will find from that website that Navid had given that whether your data in Zomato has been breached. If it is, they could use the following data of yours: your name, your address, your credit card number, or how you paid, any or all of it. It is available to people to use. Whether they've used it or not is another story. The recommendation right now would be for you to just change your Zomato password. Just change it so that, again, this doesn't happen, and you have not used the same password for anything else. What Navid has been telling you throughout has been, do not use the same password for everything. Navid, are you back?
Yeah, I think I got disconnected for some reason. Yeah, so basically if you put if that's just one service that is there are other many services. If you just search for, if you don't want to use this service and you want to use a different one, because this is obviously free, other ones are paid, then you can just type data breach services, and they will again let you put in your email, and they will send you a notification whenever your email is there in any data breach. Because everything is linked to your email, you will obviously, it'll tell you that, hey, this data related with this account is present in a breach. You might want to change your password, or you might want to check what other sensitive data is present in this breach, and then you can obviously change it. So that site is actually quite up to date, and it's kept very up to date, because everything related till April 2021, all the major breaches that were there, it's all contained in that site. So
Give us the URL of that.
Have I been pawned? I think if this is being recorded, so you can.
Okay.
Thank you, Navid. We're seriously running short of time.
Yeah, sure.
This has been very, very helpful. I think somebody on the chat has actually asked you to come back again, and we would always be very happy for you to come back. Again, we thank you for your time, as well as we wish you all the best for what you're trying to do in the US. Bless you for this. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I'll surely come back.
Thank you, Navid. Thank you.
Thank you, Navid. Thank you.
Thank you.